What if you were Steve Jobs, from the boy given away to the man who changed everything? You were born on February 24, 1955, in San Francisco. Your biological parents are two graduate students, Joanne Scheibel and Abdul Fattah Jandali, who are not married and cannot keep you. Before you are old enough to understand anything about the world, you are given away. Paul and Clara Jobs adopt you. They are a working-class couple. Paul fixes cars and works with his hands. Clara is a payroll clerk. They move to Mountain View, California, into a neighborhood that is quietly becoming something the world will later call Silicon Valley. Engineers tinker in garages on weekends. The air smells of possibility and solder. Paul Jobs builds a workbench in the garage and divides it in half, one side for him, one side for you.
He shows you how to take apart radios, televisions, circuit boards, how to understand the inside of things, how things work underneath what they appear to be. This becomes the most important education you ever receive. Not school, the garage, the workbench. The moment your father shows you that the inside of a thing is more interesting than its surface. You are smart, and you know it, and school bores you into mischief. Your fourth-grade teacher has to bribe you to study. You test so well, the administrators want to skip you 2 grades. Your parents say no. They are worried about you socially, and they are right to be. You are not easy. You are never easy. You are the kind of person who sees further than the people around you and finds it difficult to hide the impatience this creates. At 13, you meet Steve Wozniak, 5 years older, an electronics genius who thinks in circuits the way other people think in sentences.
You and Woz build illegal blue boxes together that let you make free phone calls. You sell them to students. This is your first product. This is the first time you understand. Woz makes the thing, you sell it. Reed College, Portland. You last 1 semester. The tuition is expensive. Your parents stretch to pay it, honoring a promise they made to your biological mother that you would go to college. After 6 months, you tell them you are leaving. You do not tell them that you stay on campus for another 18 months, sleeping on the floors of friends' dorm rooms, eating free meals at the Hare Krishna temple, dropping in on any class that interests you. One of those classes is calligraphy. You spend hours learning letter forms, serif and sans serif, the spacing between letters, the way a well-made typeface carries the weight of what it says.
It seems useless. It is not. A decade later, the Macintosh becomes the first personal computer with beautiful typography because you remembered what you learned sleeping on a floor in Oregon. You go to India with your friend Dan Kotke. You shave your head. You sit with holy men. You are looking for something you cannot name, a structure beneath the surface of things, a way of seeing that goes past what is obvious into what is true. You find Buddhism. You find Zen. You come back to California thinner and stranger and more certain than ever that most of what people call important is not. You walk into Atari and tell them you will not leave until they give you a job. They give you a job. You are 20. You sleep at the office. You shower at the gym. You work on video games at night so you can afford to pay for Woz's work during the day.
This is the texture of your life before Apple. Sleeping on floors, working at night, never having enough money but never once doubting that something is coming. You are 21. You and Woz start Apple Computer in your parents' garage. To raise the capital, you sell your Volkswagen bus. Woz sells his scientific calculator. The total is $1,350. You hand-assemble circuit boards on the workbench your father built. The computer is called the Apple I. You sell it to a local dealer for $500 a unit, and the dealer sells it for $666.66. The first 100 units move. You have seen something that the established world has not yet understood. The computer is not a tool for engineers and universities and corporations. It is for everyone. It should sit on a kitchen table. It should be beautiful. It should be so simple that a person who has never seen one before can pick it up and use it. The Apple II comes. Color graphics. Expandable. Designed to be opened and modified. Mike Markula invests $250,000. The company incorporates. Sales go from $774,000 to $7.8 million to $117 million in 3 years. In 1980, Apple goes public. At 25 years old, you are worth $256 million. The money is not the point. The money is evidence that you were right. The Macintosh, a computer for the rest of us. You put it on stage and it introduces itself, and the crowd gasps because nothing has ever looked or felt like this before. A machine with a face, a personality, a point of view. But by 1985, you were at war with the board and the CEO they hired to run your own company. John Scully, the Pepsi man you recruited yourself, famously asking him, "Do you want to sell sugar water for the rest of your life, or do you want to come with me and change the world?" He comes. Then he votes with the board to strip your operational responsibilities. You are 30 years old. You are pushed out of Apple, the company you started in a garage, the company named after the fruit you ate on your commune, the company that was supposed to change the world, and in some ways already had. You go home, and you do not know what to do. And this is one of the only times in your life that you genuinely do not know what to do. You sell all your Apple stock except one share. The feeling, you say later, is like being punched in the stomach. Then you start next. Then you buy a small graphics company from George Lucas for $5 million and rename it Pixar. You do not yet know what Pixar will become. You know you have to keep moving. Next makes beautiful computers that almost nobody buys. The hardware is too expensive. The market is wrong. By 1993, Next stops making computers entirely and becomes a software company. You have failed, and you are close enough to it that you cannot dress it up as anything else. But Pixar. In 1995, Toy Story comes out, the first fully computer-animated feature film in history, the night before Thanksgiving. It earns $362 million. Pixar goes public the same week, and you become a billionaire for the first time on the strength of something that has nothing to do with computers. You are 40 years old. You have been gone from Apple for a decade. Apple's market share has fallen to 4%. The company is burning through cash and running out of options. They need an operating system. The best one available is Next Step, the software your company built after you gave up on the hardware. In 1997, Apple buys Next for $429 million. The acquisition brings you back into the building. Apple is weeks from bankruptcy when you take back control in 1997. You make a deal with Microsoft, your great rival, for $150 million in investment to keep the lights on. The Apple faithful boo when Bill Gates' face appears on screen at Macworld. You let them boo. You need the money more than you need the purity. You cut the product line from dozens of models to 4. You eliminate everything that is not essential. You launch the Think Different campaign. Photographs of Einstein, Muhammad Ali, Amelia Earhart, Picasso, rebels and misfits, and people who refuse to accept the world as given. The ad never mentions a product. It mentions only a way of being. Then the iMac, translucent plastic in 5 colors. A computer you can pick up by the handle. A computer that looks like it was made by someone who cared what it looked like. It sells 800,000 units in 5 months. Then the iPod, 1,000 songs in your pocket. Then iTunes. Then the iPhone, which you introduce on January 9th, 2007 by telling the audience you are introducing 3 revolutionary products: a widescreen iPod, a mobile phone, and an internet communicator. They think these are 3 separate things. They are one thing. The crowd understands, slowly, and then all at once. The iPhone changes everything. The smartphone era begins on a stage in San Francisco, where you grew up, where you were given away. Pancreatic cancer, specifically a neuroendocrine tumor, a rare, slow-growing form, one of the few that can be treated successfully if caught early. For 9 months after the diagnosis, you refuse surgery. You try a vegan diet, acupuncture, herbal remedies, a psychic. Your biographer, Walter Isaacson, who interviews you for years, says this is the decision you later regret more than any other. By the time you have surgery in 2004, the tumor has grown. You do not tell the public. You lose weight. The rumors begin. Apple's stock moves when people speculate about your health. You are no longer just a person. You are a material fact in the lives of investors and employees and customers, and you cannot simply be sick.
In 2005, you give the Stanford commencement address. You tell 3 stories about dropping out of read and calligraphy, about getting fired from Apple and what the freedom of failure taught you, about cancer and death, and the way that knowing you are going to die is the only reliable tool for understanding what actually matters. You end with the words from an old catalogue that shaped your youth. Stay hungry, stay foolish. It is the most watched commencement speech in history. You resign as CEO of Apple on August 24, 2011. You die on October 5th, 40 days later, at home with your family around you. You are 56. Apple becomes the most valuable company in the history of the world. The iPhone you launched from a stage in 2007 changes how every human being on Earth communicates. The products you refused to ship until they were exactly right, not good enough, exactly right, set a standard that the entire industry measures itself against. You are buried in an unmarked grave at Alta Mesa Memorial Park in Palo Alto. No monument, no landmark. The grave of a man who changed the world looks like every other grave. What the story of your life keeps returning to, you were given away before you were old enough to know what being given away meant. You spent the rest of your life creating things that could not be taken from you. Things so beautiful and so useful that the world would keep them even after you were gone. The garage, the floor in Oregon, the Exile, the return, the phone you designed in secret and showed to the world in the city where you were born. Stay hungry, stay foolish.